is waiting for seeing your face in the dead of night by my side. But I'm still hesitating, cause there is this distance, and we both feel it through the dark in our hearts. Gotta keep from breaking. I am not afraid of the storms of day to day. I know that they will pass us by. The life may fall apart. We are stronger through the scars we know. Cause we both have gotta try. Cause if we keep holding on, we can break through these walls. Keeping these open doors through the storm, we'll make it out. And if we keep holding on, we can find love that's lost. Things are not too far gone, but not that far. Keep holding on. Here in this ocean, we are left hopeless. Catch your breath, make a mess, and get lost in the drifting moments. The tide of love's right.
Welcome to Wildin Out, your THL Wild Show. My name is ItsMeMikeV, and I'm joined by my co-host, NHL, NJ Fan 1, Memnarch, and our guest this week, Hero Power host Zerotio. How's everyone doing?
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. It's great to have you on. Memnarch, how you surviving out there in California?
Well, the power's only blacked out for 4 hours a day, so I'm managing. Hopefully,
All right.
we high roll the blackout, so it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, 20 hours. 20 hours is positive.
Yeah.
NHL, how you doing being back in America? No?
Are you muted?
You might be muted. Yeah, that's very possible.
Oh, hi. Hi, I am here. Hi. Mike, I was saying, I was confused because it said you were Jonah for a second. I'm like, wait a second. It's not right.
Yeah.
But
That's
I'm doing
right.
pretty well. It's been a lot going on back home for me, but things are finally settling down. So with that, I think I'll be all right. It's going well, though. It's good, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, new
Awesome.
meta.
Yeah, it's
So very
Gotta be a-
happy.
change of pace for you coming back, coming back from Sweden.
Absolutely.
But
Lemur.
let's get
Yeah.
to a meta-analysis.
Yeah, so before we do that, Lemur, thanks for the tier 1 sub. 10 months in a row. Well done.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I didn't even know we were around for 10 months.
Yeah, no, right? Let's hope we're there around that long. Oh, and before meta-analysis, let's talk about what we've been playing. That's the right thing to do. Memnarch, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a Guardian Animals Beast J Druid list.
Beast Jade Druid's list. Okay.
Wow.
You know what? Jade Druid's kind of underrated, so
Yeah, are you still on your Starfall build?
Yeah, it triggered Corvette super hard, so I decided to stay on it.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing to him, and then he beat me twice with the weird Togwaggle mill build. So I know that's a pet deck of his, but I high rolled a bit the first game, so it's okay. Yeah, I'm running something a bit similar right now this last week. I think the main difference in builds with Memnarch and I is that he goes for a Starfall based build to clear boards a bit more. It's a bit more defensive, and I'm kind of all in on ramp with bio projects instead. So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Zerotio?
Lots of OTK decks. Just pick a
Okay.
class and I'll find an OTK deck in it. That's kind of how I roll.
Demon,
Usually Paladin.
Demon Hunter.
All right.
Yeah, do Hunter.
Yeah, Demon Hunter. Do the OTK.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, and not a problem at all. I'll figure it out.
All right.
You can put Mechathune in anything and make it work.
Oh,
Yeah, true.
Mechathune. Mechathune is cheating.
It's an OTK.
Give me Mally OTK Demon Hunter.
See, that's funny. As I abhor Malagos decks. For myself. Not that anybody else is bad for playing them. It's just not my style. Mainly because it can be countered by just outstretching the damage, and I want things that the damage, however much armor or health you have, just doesn't matter.
Gotcha. That makes sense. We'll be talking about your OTK Paladin later in the show when we bring up Deck of the Week. But for me, I've been doing Dead Man's Hand Warrior. I brought it this week to THL, and I screwed it up. And it's a deck I thought I knew better, so I've been playing it more to just try to master it. I mean, I'm not going to master it in a week, but I want to get a better grasp on it. There's just some parts of it that I just thought I knew. And, since I played it in the past, there's a lot of card changes that I just was not familiar with. And I think it's a really powerful deck, so I just would like to get a better grasp. So, yeah.
It's certainly tricky, so.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No. And I this week when I brought it to THL, I made some big mistakes. And, I was so close to having the win, but I just like I didn't save up enough armor, and I got down to the right amount of the right cards towards the end. I had the right combo, but I just didn't execute, and it was very frustrating. So it's just kind of haunting me. So I'm like trying not to make that mistake again in the future. So
yeah, live and learn.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Anyways, you did mention meta analysis before. You want to take a look at the lineups brought this last week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so just taking a look back, there were 41 archetypes brought this last week, which is even more than last week. Because,
wow.
With Dark Lair around, we thought, hey, that means this is going to be super polarizing. Everyone's going to choose the top 2 decks and then whatever else. And there's not going to be any variety at all.
Yeah.
And somehow, despite last season, we saw even more variety. We thought after the nerfs that Quest Mage was going to be unanimous pick. Quest Mage wasn't really popular at all. It was the most popular mage build.
Yeah.
And mage was the second most popular class. But it still wasn't even the majority of mage builds.
Which I find interesting. I know there was definitely some LPG mages and some Reno mages. But I do find it interesting that and obviously Turtle Mage is around too.
Yeah.
But I do, and Secret Mage, but I do find it interesting that it's just so spread out.
Yeah. What's interesting too is that a lot of the archetypes themselves have different builds within them too. Jade Druid was split between Guardian Animals and Dragon builds, and even Odd Warrior had quest variants. I think it was... I remember I got yelled at in the Wild channel over this.
So Quest and Odd Warrior is really old. People are trying to put a win condition in Odd Warrior, and that's the only one they could really find.
Yeah, it was Number 3 that yelled at me. Number 3 was like, I'll have you know my Odd Warrior was a Quest Odd Warrior.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I see Baku, I think Odd. I think tank up. So,
Quest Odd Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I'll keep that in mind. I'm playing him this week.
Super interesting. So
it seems Combo Reno Priest was still the most popular deck this week.
Yeah, it's the best deck in the meta right now.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing more Rattlegore teched into Odd Warrior. I've played it in my test lists, and I like it because there's not a lot of text to silence it or polymorph it too much if you're banning properly, and it just sticks. You can use your board clears, and it just stays on the board no matter what. And I'm just really surprised not to see that addition become popular yet.
Yeah. And actually, yeah, I mean, there's always that. You know what? It's actually in standard. You'd be more worried about getting stolen by priest, and with Reno priest now, you're not going to worry so much about it getting stolen.
Exactly.
In standard, it's a big fear.
Like I remember when it was revealed, I just thought that like maybe Odd Warrior would run this simply because it's like a threat that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like putting N'Zoth in the old Control Warrior builds, except you can stay odd and get all the armor generation, and you kind of have that same N'Zoth style board stickiness where you just have a big minion for turn after turn no matter what they do.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a question. If you cube Ralgor, does it go back to a 9/9, or does it remain as like an 8/8 or a 7/7?
I'm pretty sure it goes back to a 9/9 if that's what you cubed it as.
No. So
Yeah, the way Ralgor works an interesting way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all hard coded.
I mean, if you cube it as a 5/5, it comes back as a 5/5.
Yeah, because it's all
Well, I
hard
mean,
coded.
Yeah.
So
if you cube it as a 9/9, it will come back as a 9/9.
right.
Okay.
But, however, if you reduce Rattlegore to 1/1, you know, like I had a game where I got it's the rogue legendary that makes a death rattle minion in your hand 1/1 and it costs 1.
Yeah.
When it died, it came back as an 8/8.
Yeah, so
Oh.
the reason why that happens is because the way Rattlegore is coded, each death rattle summons a hard-coded specific Rattlegore.
Okay.
So
Yes.
the first one summons an 8/8, the next one summons a 7/7, and so on. It's not like it just takes whatever Rattlegore's original stats was when you played it, and then summon one with -1/-1.
Yeah, so if your 9/9 Rattlegore gets shrink raid and killed, it comes back as an 8/8.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so there's like 8 Ralgor tokens,
Exactly.
uncollectible tokens. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird card. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but that's how the card was designed. So
I mean, the more stuff they hard code, the less likely a future patch will mess it up, right?
Makes sense.
I
Makes
guess,
sense.
but also spaghetti code.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
The last thing I wanted to say about the meta analysis was one of the interesting things to me is that the third most popular class still seems to be Warlock. With it's diverse. I mean, Q Block is still the most popular choice, but it is a diverse class with Disco, Reno, Evenlock, and even a couple Dark Layers. So even with the nerf, Warlock is still pretty popular.
yep.
Well,
Funny you
yeah, I mean-
mention-
Darkslayer was the best Warlock deck, and that's why you always saw it. But that didn't mean that Cube or Reno or even Eve and a Warlock got worse. They just had a deck that was a better choice.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that these decks, people still went to Warlock. Like, these decks weren't getting picked at all, and now that they're Cube just shot up in play.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
So
anyways, now that we've done a recap of that, Zerotio, do you want to take on your questions now?
yeah, sure.
yeah, let's do a little interview here. Zerotio, we have a couple questions from. I believe the first few questions are from Diamond. Where did your username come from?
I went by the moniker Zero back in my Magic the Gathering days when I was on the Pro Tour because my love for Zero casting cost cards. And as I got older, I became the old guy that played Magic and video games and whatnot. And they started calling me Uncle Zero. And Zerotio is Chio is Spanish for uncle, so it's basically a rough translation to Uncle Zero.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's cool.
All right, so it's not after the StarCraft Brood War Pro Gamer Zero,
No, definitely not.
who won an ASL.
Since
last-
that guy's much
last
younger
season?
than me, and I've had this nickname a lot longer.
Okay.
All right. Would you one of you guys want to take the next question? Memnarch?
All right, so what's your perspective on THL's evolution over the years, having been around for so long?
It's been great. Obviously, I've been around for 12 seasons, about 4 years, and there's been some ups and downs in the community. But honestly, I think it's built a stronger community. Those people that have left and not come back have brought in a better competitive pool and more community-focused group of individuals, therefore just making THL stronger. So every season it gets better, and the board gets more confident and more proactive on their decisions. And I love THL. It's great.
Awesome. Why? Our hat asked, "Why is Paladin the best class?"
Because I play it. I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's the fast answer. The good answer is it just has so many varieties. You can play aggro, you can play mid range, tempo, control, OTK. That just has the most variety, especially in wild.
Awesome. NHL, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think I already know what class you're going to say this in. Obviously, Shaman. But I'm going to ask anyway. What's your favorite wild deck? Shaman decks aside, of course.
My favorite wild deck has to be Uther OTK Paladin. But if I was to throw in my second favorite, it would be my Shutterwalk Wind Fury OTK Shaman.
Oh, okay.
Wind Fury OTK. I like how you go to Shaman too, since I mentioned it.
Yeah,
right.
You use the squirrel, the squirrel to give it stealth, and the Omega Defender to give it a bunch of attack, and then you throw Wind Fury out at next turn.
Oh, I
You don't
see.
use Hog Rider?
No,
Granted
you
charge?
don't need the Hog Rider. Yeah, I guess you could technically, but
Oh God, King
Oh.
Nukla Hog Rider Shuttlewalk
Yeah.
Shaman.
it's,
I didn't
it's
even
fun.
think about
fun.
that.
And I've actually won in THL with that deck.
Wow.
Wow. I thought I was the only one who won with Shutterwalk Shaman in THL.
Yeah, you stomped that week.
Yeah.
What are
So-
the odds of killing someone with 2 Holy Wraths when they're at 27 and you have 13 cards left in your deck?
So this is a funny question, and I have to make a correction. So the situation was, and this was in a THL match, I had 14 cards left in my deck, and Holy Wrath in my hand, and I had to not draw Holy Wrath or Shirvala. So then, once it was my turn, and I had 13 cards in my hand, 13 cards in my deck, I had to cast the Holy Wrath and hit the 1 in 13 Holy Wrath in my deck. Then I had to hit the 1 in 12 Shirvala with that Holy Wrath.
So, do you have the math on that on hand?
So 1 in 12 and 1 in 13?
It's
12 times-
exactly 0%
100.
because I did it.
No, it's 150. It's 1 in 156. I did my math
It's
right.
pretty it's rare. My opponent actually had to take a 5-minute break until he played the next game of the series.
Oh my God,
Mhm.
disgusting. Yeah. Well, 100% likely that it would happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, look at that. All right. Who
Memnarch plays-
is?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I got this. Who is
Yeah.
your favorite legacy captain?
I'm contractually obligated to say ridiculous hat.
And your least favorite?
I'm contractually obligated to say ridiculous hat. That's how I'm supposed to answer it. No, that's not right. Least favorite. I'm not going to answer that one.
You just
because,
did, though.
Yeah, I did.
Oof. All right. What's it like being on a weekly podcast?
Oh, hero power. It's a labor of love. We've been doing it for 5 years straight now, and we play a different deck every single week on the show. So I have to keep my chops strong with all 10 classes. We try to rotate all 10 classes before we rotate through them again. So it's 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 fun, but it's a lot of work because I have to stay sharp on the meta.
Well, so
Okay.
what's your shaman decks like? Shaman deck like?
I mean, I have a pool of shaman decks. Right now, I'm enjoying the quest shaman, but I am playing a totem shaman, not to much success.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to the show, and you guys do a great job. I mean, I listen to it weekly. Um, you guys do. I'm impressed. You know, and it is hard. It must be hard keeping. Yeah, I mean, I have to keep up on the wild meta for this show. But you guys do talk about wild and standard, and you know, it's
Well,
different than this because with this show, you know, we just talk about THL, and you guys kind of talk about all of Hearthstone.
yeah, we do wild standard battlegrounds during sometimes. We sometimes highlight some of the solo content. It's really whatever's relevant at that time or what we're enjoying at that time. And all the magic is done by my producer and co-host Avantis. He's brilliant. I just have to come on and be good at Hearthstone. He's the mastermind when it comes to making the show successful. I just
Gotcha.
have to be a personality.
Oh, that's kind of what I'm doing here with MartyB here.
Hey.
Giving the credit to
I'm just here for
MartyB
moral support.
OPing. But all right. What Memnarch, you want to ask the next question?
Sure. Let's see here. We just did wild. So wild or standard?
Um, I have to say both. I mean, I know it's a cop out answer, but I get legend in both wild and standard, both seasons, both formats every season usually, and I have to kind of keep both up because we never know if we're going to play a wild or a standard deck on the show, and I really want to be at that at least Diamond 5, preferably in Legend when we play it on the show. So I need to keep both of my skills sharp. So I play them almost evenly.
Awesome. What's the prep like on Bash Brothers, your wild team?
It's we're kind of all new to each other, and we have a lot of time zone differences. So we try to prep as best as we can, and we get some practice in. But really, we give our suggestions of what we're going to do, and kind of open forum it for everybody to put in their input. And then we just have faith that we're all really good Hearthstone players and plan to do that well that week. And it's worked really well for everybody but me. So
Yeah, that's similar to the prep on my team. You know, I think we have faith in each other, and we're kind of doing individual prep. You know, we're not really having like big team meetings or anything. We're kind of just having faith in each other. We do talk through decks and everything, but we don't. I mean, I'm on other teams where we have weekly team meetings and stuff, and we, I don't know. It's just every team preps different, I think, and it's you have your own different ways of success. So
yeah, and
works.
It gets a little difficult for us since our team captain's in Australia, and one of our Anubinator is in New Zealand, and then the rest of us are in the U.S. So we kind of have to post in Discord, and whenever somebody reads it and posts back, we get that feedback.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So no team get-togethers then. That's what I'm hearing.
Not usually, unless Anubinator plays at 5 a.m. again, and then then we have team meetings.
Ugh. That sounds rough.
Yeah.
Let's hope that we don't get another 5 a.m. matchup in
Yeah.
THL.
Oh, God.
So
Yeah.
I believe.
Remember my advice to you, Mike V? Find out what 3 a.m. is in Australia and play during that time.
Yeah, that's a good.
It worked out. You won, right?
I did.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was 3 a.m. in Australia, but I don't know.
Well,
I did win. So
it's kind of cheating. Well, it's not really the same with Corvette though, Because Corbett gets up at 3:30 in the morning anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the guy's a madman, getting up for a 3:30 run every morning.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I
So
don't like those days. I've done that, and I won't do it again.
yeah, those strategies just might not work against him. But you got the win. So, all right. Another question for you, Zerotio. Next season, is there anyone you'd want to team up with in the Wild Series? That
Mike
Lowe, really?
Yeah, hands down, Mike Lowe. Mike Lowe, I knew him before he was Mike Lowe. He was an early follower of the Hero Power podcast, early patron of the Hero Power podcast. Went under the moniker Blackarot, Kakarot, because he's a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Until he decided to go mainstream as Mike Lowe, and he's really been kind of a big supporter of me personally and the show. I've helped coach him through his success in Hearthstone, and I even recommended him for multiple seasons to come into THL, and he finally, after about 10 seasons of me bugging him, decided to join. But yeah, definitely I'd love to get on a team. I don't care if it's Wild, if it's Standard, Legacy, Hero, it doesn't matter. I just would love to play on a team with Mike Lowe. The guy is just awesome.
Yeah, I think we can all say we loved having Mike Lowe here when he came on. Just such a great personality. Just so upbeat. Brings you can feel it in the air with him.
Absolutely. Yeah. A very positive person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I hope he's doing great right now. I hope everything's good with him.
Yeah. So we do have one last question. Who wants to take it?
Yeah, how did your dad get into Hearthstone, Zerotio? I think we have a story behind this.
Yeah, that's a funny story. My dad, who actually passed this past year, but up until his passing, he was having health issues and he was home a lot. And he started playing Hearthstone without me knowing it for like 2 months. And he knew I did the podcast. And I'd given him my old computer that happened to have Hearthstone on it, and I left it on there for my nephew to play whenever he came to visit. And I show up one day, and my dad's playing Hearthstone. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, oh, it's this game I found on the computer. I was like, that's Hearthstone. He goes, yeah, I know. It's the one you do the podcast on. And I was like, yeah. So I watched him play some, and I was like, why are you playing Wild? He goes, oh, I don't know. I'm a wild kind of guy. So I'm watching him play, and he's just throwing anything on there. He's trying to hit face when there's a taunt. He's putting really inefficient trades into taunt. I was like, Dad, are you not doing any math? He goes, no, I just click on the green ones, and I point them at the face if I can. And the little button next to me, if I can point it at their face, I do. And he was like healing their face with the priest. And
oh man!
And he says, after like a few weeks, I was going to visit. He goes, "You do a podcast on this?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "And you like teach people how to play?" I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Why? What's there to learn?" I said, "What do you mean? It's strategy." He says, "No, you just click on the green cards until the other guy turns into a hole in the ground. That's it." I showed him the Smork video. Everybody's seen the Smork Migo face.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you that same question if you showed him that video.
I showed him the video, and he was like, "Yeah, this guy knows how to play Hearthstone. You need to get him on your show." And it was a big bonding moment that I'll treasure. As his health was deteriorating, he got to enjoy Hearthstone, up to the end, and it brought us a bit of closure together, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm glad you got that. So,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
and I'm really happy you could share that with us because that's quite the story.
Yeah, and my dad is a very funny individual, and he really supported my podcasting. He didn't quite understand it and thought it was silly at first, but he took the time to watch it and see how much passion I was putting into it, and really supported me, and I'll never forget that. It's nice to have that kind of support.
it is. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that. That's a great story. I'm gonna try that sometime. Just click on the green cards, just for one
It
Yeah.
match.
worked for him. I
You
mean,
know,
I went in and I was like, "Dad, you're ranked 23. How? How?" He's like, "I'm good, I guess."
Yeah, I mean, it must have worked for some games.
Some games he actually climbed. He actually got up to rank. This is back in the old system. Got to rank 19, and I was flabbergasted. I was like, because you
Yeah,
can actually lose stars in
Whoa.
20. I was like, how do you get into 19? He goes, I must be a natural.
this is the place.
yeah, face is the place.
Oh,
Oh man.
with
All
that
right.
said, you guys want to move on to conference reviews?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Oh,
so we
yeah.
got blue, brown, and green conference. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, so Mike, you had green conference, so let's start there.
Yep.
So first up, we had Seas of Cheese versus Diamond Club.
Yep. Caesar Cheese versus Diamond Club. So this is an interesting matchup. Diamond Club has been struggling a lot. Caesar Cheese winning 16-9, putting Caesar Cheese as number one in the Green Conference's points, which is actually startling.
They do have a week on
They
everyone
have
else, though.
Yeah, which is true. They do have a week on everyone, but still, I just didn't see that coming. The only loss was T-Rex sweeping Lemur.
That was on
Some
stream,
interesting.
actually.
You say that again?
That was on stream, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, there's some interesting decks here. Lemur brought a Quest Reno Priest. I found that interesting. Trolldan brought Mind Blast Priest and Starliner Druid, which were both interesting choices to me.
Yeah.
Um,
He brought
know,
those last week against me.
did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not last week. Yeah, last week. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been bringing the
Yeah.
same lineup every week, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Diamond Club is struggling. I mean, they've picked up 3 wins total. Um, the bans in this matchup are kind of all over the place. Diamond Club banning. Let's see here. Kingsbane, Reno Priest, Taunt Druid, Odd Rogue, and Disco Lock. So just some interesting strategies, I think. But, Caesar Cheese picking it up, and Caesar Cheese having a much better season than last season. Both Slad and Scritch, both 3-0. And I'm just happy to see them succeeding. Like I said at the beginning of the season, I'd love to see them succeed. So, yeah, that's it for this matchup.
Yeah, I just want to add one more last thing. Figurin, I believe, is going to be taking that last slot in Caesar Cheese from now on. Believe they're
Okay.
looking to make him a permanent sub. So, it's red this
Permanent
week,
sub.
but yeah. Red this week, but it will be black. So, look out.
Yeah, look out. 1-0.
All right, next up, we had F2 Viridian, my team, versus Wild THL Fanatics.
Yep. F12 Viridian versus Wild THL Fanatics. This is a much closer matchup, 14-10. Wild THL Fanatics is only 19 points total on the season. Scoring 10 of them here. Wild THL Fanatics not having a great season so far. Compared to last season. F12 Viridian looking great. The lineups for your team, Marty. You guys brought a lot of similar lineups. 5 Jade Druids, 5 Mages, 5 Reno Priests, 4 Warlocks. You guys kind of going with the Power Creeps method here. Just lining up just one lonely rogue.
It's funny you say that. We didn't even try to do this. We just figured.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we figured let's bring Priest, let's bring some sort of Quest Mage for the most part. So I brought Quest Mage, Ultimate, and Itachi brought Reno Quest Mage. Neji, I believe, brought Pocket Galaxy Mage.
Yeah, they are different mages. That's the
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
You have a Luna Pocket Galaxy Mage. You have a Reno Quest Mage. you have just a regular quest mage, and then a Luna Pocket Galaxy mage. So you do have different mages. They're not all the same.
Yeah, we were all over the place. The same can be
and
said
the-
for Warlock too.
Yep, you got a Q block. You have a Q block, disco lock, Q block, and yeah, I mean they're not all the same. So
Same classes, not same archetypes. Like
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
this was a closer match. You guys looking good though. 3 of you are 2-0. Rada Zombie having a rough start. Wild THL Fanatics, despite being runners up last season, not having a great season so far. Mike Lowe having an uncharacteristic start. And they went with the almost full Warlock ban, even though it was post Darkglare nerf.
So actually, something came up for Mike Lowe, and there needed to be an emergency sub. So I played against Nate Wolf TCG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Mike Lowe submitted his deck list, submitted the ban, but then could not play. So Nate stepped in, and that's who I ended up beating.
So does that count against Mike Lowe, or does that count against?
I believe it technically counts against Mike Lowe because it was such an emergency sub. It was just completely last minute.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do about that. So.
Yeah, and the only interesting decks I saw here, Draco Cat did bring Darkglare, even though it was post nerf.
He rolled over.
Oh yeah, he rolled over. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And Electric Sheep City brought Big Priest and Big Shaman, so it was kind of a control-y lineup. But yeah, so that's it for the Green Conference. It's definitely a difficult conference, with Power Creeps, F2L Viridian, and with Seas of Cheese on top. But then you have such a disparity with Wild THL Fanatics and Seas of Cheese at the bottom. Or I'm sorry, Seas of Cheese, Diamond Club at the bottom. It really is looking like, F2L Viridian and Power Creeps are the top 2 teams in this conference. So, yeah. That's it for a Green Conference.
All right. Who wants to go next?
all
right. Memnarch, you're up then. Let's go blue.
right. Blue, all right.
All right. First up, we got Bash Brothers versus the Cult Wild.
Wow, 13-13. You don't see that very often. But looks like Bash Brothers did win 3-2. Am I seeing that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
that actually doesn't matter in the regular season. It only matters in the playoffs, I believe. So there won't be any extra points given, if I recall correctly.
Though I think if we get into a tiebreak situation, specifically with Colt Wild for playoffs, it goes down to series, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they'll go to well, you play each other twice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess
sure
you're right. So that would be different then.
Yeah.
I haven't said it's 13-13, but the wins get flipped.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway. All right, looking at this, like, Zerotio, do you want to go through your games?
Yeah, I kind of I tried to kind of soft target his lineup and made some rough calls in my lineup, but I still thought I could win this. My bomb warrior did exactly what I wanted it to do, and then the rest of my decks just had some draw issues and some kind of, wouldn't want to say misplays, but maybe some sequencing that might have been better if I would have kind of read my opponent's hand a little better. So he definitely got a good win, good 3-1 victory over me, well earned. But I do believe I could have played a little better. Fortunately, my team did a good job of keeping us in it, and Anubinator had a 0-3, a rough 0-3 loss. Unfortunately, with scheduling, she was playing at 5 a.m. her time, and I think this is her first season in THL. She's done a bang up job up to this week, and I think it just came down to letting the scheduling get in her head a little bit and the fatigue. And I know she's definitely going to bring it back next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Why? So there's 3 paladins brought by the Bash brothers. That's not common. Like usually paladin gets slept on. So why'd you guys bring paladin?
I brought Paladin specifically because my comfortability with Exodia Paladin. However, my other 2 opponents had, my other 2 teammates had very good success with Odd Paladin, and they felt it would be good into the lineups they suspected their opponents would bring, and it seemed to work out for both of them. They both brought Odd Paladin, piloted it really well, and took the wins. Obviously, Mr. Python went a little more full aggressive, and where Jailstorm, was able to have a little bit more control with his using the combo Reno Priest and the Reno Quest Mage. It just lined up for him.
All right. Okay, I have to ask. So Exodia Mage has been off and on in the meta for like, I don't know, 3 years now. I remember that during the last Wild Open, Jonara brought Exodia Mage, and I almost did. So, like, why bring Exodia Mage? Why bring that archetype back? It's been mostly absent for 2 years.
Because I'm good at with it. And
right.
I made a mistake of not playing it one game. I ended up just having it sit in the holster, and I probably should have played Exodia Mage when I decided to whip out the Exodia Paladin the second time. And again, I did that because I'm more confident with Exodia Paladin, but I'm just as confident in my ability to pilot the Mage. I just like the Paladin better.
All right. Do you know that there's a fun fact of Exodia Mage? It's that it's the only deck to have over 60% win rate against Snip Snap pre-nerf.
That's right.
Oh yeah. That's when I kind of cut my teeth on it and was really I farmed a lot of wins during that time. It's a good deck. I think a lot of people sleep on that deck, and when they think of combo, they go more with the quest variant, which in my opinion is the lazy way of doing an Exodia combo. Is do the setup and then use the next turn. To me, there's more skill with the pure Exodia Mage, but again, that's more my preference than necessarily the numbers of the deck.
All right.
I think that covers this matchup for the most part. You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we have the Grimskill Gang versus Nuke the Waygate.
All right, so 17-9. That's pretty lopsided with a bunch of 3-1s. That Grimskill Gang overcomes the Nuke the Waygate. The only win that Nuke had coming from Black Swan. I think we all said that Grimskill Gang was going to win, but it wasn't this much.
No.
This is of course White Delight wins. He's the best person in the conference, right?
He's the best Shaman player. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, best Shaman player. Oh no. Zerotio is probably fight White Delight for best Shaman player.
No, Zerotio is best Paladin player. Worst Paladin player.
Yeah, I'll take the worst Paladin player.
Yeah.
Sleep on my Paladin, never ban it.
Yeah. Worst Paladin player, THL. There it is. So. But yeah, White Delight is definitely one of the best players in the conference, I think. 3-1 win here, no surprise.
Yeah.
Expecting to keep climbing. 2-0, that's just the start. It's only a question of how high up he can go.
He's going to go 8-0 regular season, right?
I think that'll be the first 8-0.
Yeah. Well, we only play 6 matches, so.
No, he's going to go 8-0. I believe. I don't care if it's possible.
No, it is possible. It's definitely possible because we have.
We play 8 matches, yeah.
Yeah, we have 8
out. Oh, we played
the
season playoff matches, yeah.
Well,
no. You play everybody else in your conference twice, so that's 4 times 2.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, this looks pretty straightforward. Matty Ebbs and Yo Daddy just keeping on chugging on. White Delight take another win. Risa, I know Risa is talking about how they got a 3-0 sweep the first match. But the 1-3 loss here, I don't know.
Bruce's the ego.
It does. It really does.
I mean, that's Hearthstone, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
If I learned anything from Masters Tour, it's that you can basically, it's feast or famine. Like some matchups, like sometimes you don't bring Bomb Warrior and you queue into the guy with 14 weapon techs.
Yeah.
Another time you bring Bomb Warrior and don't queue into the guy with the 14 weapon techs, still lose. And then there's the ultimate salt factor of queuing the 14 weapon removal deck and losing to Bomb Warrior.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We talked about
The
that.
only
Remember this.
the only thing I question with Rissa's loss is Black Swan. Black Swan's a great player. He's been in THL for a while, but I know right now he was my week 1 opponent. Unfortunately, I got a DQ win, and then he was my opponent in Legacy. And I know he's very, very busy right now, and he's balancing a lot of different THL series and a work schedule and everything. So I would have thought Rissa had a leg up just because Black Swan is just a little everywhere in his real life right now. So for Black Swan to take the win over Rissa when Rissa went 3-0 the first week, maybe Black Swan's making this season come back and he's getting his head back in the game, and that would be really good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was on my team last season, and he was great. He was our best player. So.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I just think he seems very busy in his life right now, and it's affected me. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised by his slow start. I know he missed submission the first week for Dex. So yeah. I mean that's a shock. Even there, I'm surprised Nuke the Waygate has had such a slow start since they were one of the better teams in I forget the name, the colors of the conference.
They were in the Brown Conference.
They're in Brown.
Yeah, the Brown Conference last season. They were one of the better teams, and they lost a lot of their players. It's a completely different team this season, besides Silver T Fox Demon. But it is. I'm surprised they've had a slow start.
Yeah, so maybe they'll turn it around. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they will.
Yeah,
hopefully.
All right, Zerotio, are you ready for your conference?
I sure am.
All right, moving on to the Brown. First up, we have Board Space Invaders versus the Caverns Below.
So we got Board Space Invaders taking this 13-11, very close, close series, closer than I expected it to be. We have Atomos taking it 3-1 over Nine Eyebrows. Hockey Boys taking the surprising 0-3 loss to Twos. Not that Twos isn't good. It's just I didn't expect a 0-3 loss, if anything. Martian Boo lost 1-3 to Cherub. Cherub is really, really good. I've played him in other series. And Medusas over Number Theory and Blue Sombrero over G-Kick, both 3-1 in both their matches. It being 3-2 in Board Space Invaders makes me think that there would be more of a lead, but their losses were just, they got swept once and only had a 1-win loss, and the other ones kept us really, really close. The lineups are pretty obviously doing. My eyes just go straight over to. I'm sorry, not doing, but Martian Boo's lineup. Seeing the even Shaman and even Warlock kind of side by side tells me their preferences, and I'm just wondering if he didn't kind of go a little bit with. I'm just surprised to see both even Shaman and even Warlock because they don't really target the same lineups.
So I'm going to be honest, it kind of surprises me too because I expected more out of Martian this season. I experimented a lot with even Warlock in tournaments before THL started this season, and even Warlock was by far my worst tested deck. I went something like 0-7 with it in a Swiss tournament, and it single-handedly lost me that tournament. So I'm surprised that we saw so much of it and that Martian would choose to bring it. I know he was big on Dark Lair, and the next closest thing right now, other than discard Warlock, is probably even Warlock next. It's a little bit different, but I still wouldn't have expected him to bring it. And I think that might be the weak link in his lineup this last week.
Yeah,
Even
I
though
agree. And also, Turtle Mage was brought by two different players in both the Hockey Boys and G-Kick respectively, and both of them lost their series. So maybe Turtle Mage is. I don't think Turtle Mage is that good in Wild. I know there's a standard version that's really strong in Conquest lineups, but in Wild, I just don't see the success.
it's
with
too
it.
polarized.
Yeah,
It's too polarized. There's too many different ways to counter it. In my
It's
opinion.
like if you're bringing Turtle Mage, just bring Quest Mage instead. Targets the exact same things, and the low rolls are much like they're not nearly as bad for Quest Mage because Quest Mage you can just kind of annihilate everything with the right draw. Unlike Turtle Mage, where you have to wait until like turn 8. Like by turn 8, you generally won the game as Quest Mage. In my opinion, Quest Mage is strictly better in almost all situations, unless you want to take infinite turns. Then Turtle Mage is better.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do see Hockey Boys also brought Exodia Paladin, which he might have had a read on his opponent like I did, and I kind of was soft targeting Dead Man Hand Warrior, but I realized in some of the testing after I put in my lineup that the matchup you really have to draw really well with the Exodia Paladin to get the results from against Dead Man's Hand Warrior, and that might have been what he found out as well.
That sounds like a rough matchup. Because then these things just infinitely recur rat, right? You're just super sad at that point.
Yes, the version I play and what we talk about later is the turbo version by Raffle, and usually you can get the Exodia combo out before they can start turbo and rat.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right.
But if you don't draw well, you lose that game, and then you pretty much lost the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that covers all the conferences. You guys want to move on to power rankings then?
We missed the matchup, I think.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We got Straight Impin' Metamorphosis Pimpin' versus the Anoyo team.
That's right.
Yeah.
How could I forget?
Where we
Missing
have
the matchup.
Skittles over Mike V, 3-1. Nafola over Dewin, surprisingly 3-1. Snake Fods takes a 3-1 over Mad at Arms. The sub Tilflet does a valiant 2-3 loss to Slight, and Zancat gets swept by MTG Squirrel.
Yeah, this was tough.
Yeah, it really was. I expected a Noyo team to take this kind of handily because I'm a big fan of you, Mike V. First. Dewin and Mad at Arms and MTG Squirrel. Slight's the only one I don't have a lot of knowledge on. And so the 14-11 victory, a close one, goes to Simp, and who's 3-0 so far. Do you have any insight on this, Mike V, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, Skittles and I are legacy teammates, and we were pumping up this match before we played it, and it was tough. I brought a lineup to counter his Jade Druid, and it just didn't work out. He slipped a Jade Druid win over my Dead Man's Hand Warrior, and I talked about that earlier in the show. I made some mistakes with Quest Mage, and that was a tough matchup. I know Dewin had trouble against Nafola. We're a good team. We're just things aren't coming together the way we want to. I think we're having trouble with our lineups. I don't think we're having trouble. We're all experienced players, but we're just things aren't working out the way we want them to. And I think we're going to come back around. I think this week we have some good matchups. I think we'll have a better time this week. And I think Simp is a good team. I think they're a stronger team than people gave them credit for at the beginning of the season. Skittles is my pick for Player of the Week this week because obviously he beat me, so he must have done a great job. But no, I mean this was a tough matchup, and 14-11, I give it to them, and I give it to MTG Squirrel for the sweep because that was the last match of the week. So we were already losing, and we already statistically lost the match, and he still went out there and swept. I give people credit for when the match is already lost, still going out there and playing hard because that's a hard thing to do. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, you guys are averaging 13 points a week, and at a 1-2 record, it's definitely not a bad spot to be considering you have a losing record for the series so far. But I got you a little higher in the power rankings that we'll talk about in a minute. I think you guys just will pull it out. You have some really good wild names on your team, specifically in Duins, MTG Squirrel, and Mad at Arms, as well as yourself, of course. But I think you guys are going to do great the rest of the season. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and we're still number 2 in the conference in terms of points. So I mean, we're not far behind. And Slight, don't forget Slight. he's put a sad face in chat.
Yeah, I just personally don't know him very well, and I'm excited to see him prove himself.
Yeah, no, he's a top player in Wild, so he's proved himself. Don't worry. Just he hasn't played in THL yet.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's most of my knowledge is
Yeah.
THL. I'm a THL junkie, so
Yeah,
I have no doubts of Slights. I mean, he's obviously gotten a win under his belt, so he can win. I think your whole team's going to start having banger weeks and race in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're it's a tough conference. I mean, Hattleship is still in the conference. They're number 3 in terms of points, but they're a terrifying team. So we'll get to that in terms of picks coming up soon. So
Yeah. Anyways, on to power rankings.
Yep.
Let's do it. All right. Keeping it quick. So I had Power Creeps at the top, followed by F2L Viridian. Battleship, you get some Brown Conference teams in there. Grimscale Gang also at number 5. Then we have a mix of teams from 6 to 10. Then towards the bottom, you'll see most of the Blue Conference, and unfortunately, there's not much movement at the bottom still. Diamond Club's still at the bottom. So, how did you guys line up with this? I see, Mike, you have Simp at the top over Power Creeps and F2L. So do you, Zerotio. And Bash Brothers rated very highly as well by Zerotio. How are you guys feeling about this right now?
I mean, I think Simp is the top team in the hardest conference. They're undefeated. They've had they're proving themselves. They're doing great. Until they lose and show themselves otherwise, I don't see. I got to give them the credit where credit's due. I still give Power Creeps and F12 Viridian. You guys are both undefeated. I mean, you've only played 2 weeks each, so that's another part of it. But Bash Brothers also. I think Bash Brothers is doing great. Hattleship still has that week they lost. My team. I think we're still up there. I put Caesar Cheese pretty high because Caesar Cheese has been doing fantastic. I think, and then the bottom, Diamond Club's, I think, still the worst team in the league right now. Nuke the Waygate, Wild THL Fanatics they have I think 19 points and 20 points respectively. I think Caverns Below also has below 25 points. And then the teams in the middle are all just, they're hanging on, but they're not doing great. Grimscale Gang's doing good, but Board Space Invaders, Patches, Payback, and Cult Wild, they're kind of in limbo here. We're kind of seeing okay but not great showings from them. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I feel like the power rankings are kind of settling in right now with this recent week. We're finally getting an idea of where everyone stands. Can see we definitely initially underrated Simp in our preview ranking. Same with Grimscale Gang, though. Grimscale did get a valuable pickup just before the season start. Bash Brothers, Zerotio, I'm still not sure where to put you guys, to be honest. I know you and Memnarch rate your team highly, but not sure yet. Seas of Cheese definitely surpassing expectations. Well done by them. THL Fanatics dropping a bit for all of us, I think. So
My thing is THL is all about the points. Sometimes you get some really high point losses that propel a team into the playoffs when their overall record might not show that they should be in the playoffs. But then they do really well in the playoffs, and we are averaging as the Bash Brothers over 17 points a week, and we have the 113-point tie. So our wins are strong wins over our opponents, not close wins. So we're winning our weeks very definitively, which not only equates to us having points, but it equates to us denying points from other teams. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the Blue Conference are kept low. But Grimscale Gang and could easily swap spots with us, in my opinion, just because they're on a bye week and they haven't faced us yet. So it's really going to come down, in my opinion, for Blue Conference. It's going to come down to Bash Brothers versus the Grimscale Gang to decide who's going to be the top of that heap. And of course, I couldn't put us in the top because Simp is mathematically just the best team in THL right now. They're just killing it in points. They're killing it in the records. And while Power Creeps is meeting expectations, I think Simp is exceeding expectations.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's pretty fair. I still don't think they should be that high. I think you're sleeping on Power Creeps and F2L Viridian a bit too much because we've only had 2 weeks of play. And it's going to affect us quite a bit this week since we're both playing each other.
Oh, yeah. No,
So,
I mean, it won't affect us at all. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're going to lose that one spot. It's okay.
Oh, man.
So be prepared. Anyways, yeah, I think I do agree with your assessment of the Blue Conference right now, Zerotio. And I think Green Conference, we can say as well, is pretty much a 3-team race, possibly 2 in a few weeks. We'll have to see which teams can stay at the top and which ones falter a bit. Outside of Simp, it's hard to say who's really competitive in the Brown Conference right now, so keep an eye on that. And yeah.
Well, I mean, the Brown Conference seems like it's Simp, Paddleship, and Onoyo team at this point. I mean, Board Space Invaders and Caverns Below are having a tough time, I think, so far. We'll see, though. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks, but from what we've seen so far, Onoyo team is 1 and 2, but we're number 2 in points, so we're scoring. You know what I mean? We're winning games. We're just not winning the match.
Yeah, we will see. So, all right, next up, predictions. So we are running a little late, so you guys want to just brush through this pretty quick?
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right, first up, we have Diamond Club versus Wild THL Fanatics. How you guys feeling about this?
Diamond Club versus... All right, Memnarch, you want to go first? Just toss you right in there.
Yeah, I think we can go over it together. Like one of us.
Yeah, we
just
have all our
say-
predictions done, right?
Yeah, so Memnarch, you want to just go through, say like how you feel about how we all predicted, and give us some of your predictions?
All right, let me just bring that up real quick. And I think that we mostly said the same thing, right?
For the
Yeah,
most
we all
part.
agreed. We got a
Yeah.
5-0.
Yeah,
Diamond
we all
Club's
have
gonna get
5-0 here. I have a 5-0.
I think we all did.
Let me just look
so-
across the board here. We got 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's hard to pick. I mean, it's Wild THL Fanatics is not having a great season so far, but Diamond Club, I mean, I want them to improve, but it's hard to pick for them right now. So we'll see.
I think it'll be a 4-1 match, but I don't know who's going to win, so I'm just going to call the sweep right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They always seem to pick up one match each week because obviously they have 3 wins, 3 weeks. but it's who can you pick? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So all right.
All right. Next up, we have Battleship 2 BBC versus Board Space Invaders. Who wants to take this next?
I'll take this. I'm just looking for the matchup. I have Adamos in the 1. I've got Corvette in the 2, Bill Snyder in the 3. I meant to pick A2 Battleship in the 4.
I think you're checking Memnarch's picks.
Oh yeah, I got A2
Yeah,
Battleship in the 4, and I got Base Ink. Yeah, I've got Adamos in the 1, Corvette in the 2, Bill Snyder in the 3, A2 Battleship in the 4, and Base Ink in the 5.
Okay.
And you.
This seems
You
very
have-
split, right?
Yeah, we're pretty split.
Yeah,
We're pretty
so
split
the
up
first
there.
two matchups, 2 of us have Adamos picked, and 2 of us have Arhat picked. And then
Yeah.
for Hockey Boys versus Corb, 2 are picked Hockey Boys and 2 have picked Corvette. It's interesting since Mednarch and I are the ones that picked Corvette, and you guys picked Hockey Boys. I would say you guys have more experience in THL, and Memnarch and I probably have more experience in Wild. So it's
Yeah.
it's a very interesting split there.
Yeah, you're right. I did pick Hockey Boys. Yeah, it is interesting. I think Hockey Boys has been doing pretty well this season. I mean, they're both 1-1, so it's tough.
Yeah,
I
we'll
did
have
play
to see.
Corvette, and I guess I beat Corvette, but that doesn't say much because the
Very
deck
King
on
says
that-
a lot.
What's up?
Doesn't that say a lot though? Like,
Yeah, you're
she's
right.
like,
Yeah, we will have to
All
see.
right. Well, let's
Yeah,
see
see,
what-
I got Battleship taking this 4-1 with the only loss is Hockey Boys over Corvette myself.
Yeah, I think most of us, except for Memnarch, have about A2 over there. And then, Memnarch, you have Blue Sombrero. And everyone except me picked Base Tinct for the final match, right?
I
Yeah,
thought I picked based. Wait, did I?
Yeah, you
yeah,
picked
everyone
Base.
but NHL.
Yeah,
picked
I
Base.
picked Martian. I have faith. He's going to turn it around.
Base is
Jesus,
solid, though. I've faced her so many times, and she's really, really good.
She is. She is. But I have faith in Martian. I think he can take it. So,
All right.
yeah. Next up, we have Patches Payback versus Nuke the Waygate.
All right.
I can take that one.
Go for it.
Yeah, I've got Patches Payback pretty much taking this 4-1 with the only loss being Tomato in the 4 seed over Tony Montana. I love Tony. He's a great guy. He's one of the local players here in East Tennessee. But he seems to be a little struggling in Wild a little bit. And I know when he's struggling in season, sometimes he doesn't play his best. And he's really good when it comes to Legacy and Conquest format and Standard. I just don't know if I haven't seen him have much success in Wild. So I think that's the only loss that Patches Payback has. But I think the rest of the team takes theirs.
Yeah. It seems like we all have Dirty Mike taking it. We're split on Black Swan versus Brushy Tuna. We're split on Surlos and Cavera. We have Tomato taking it. Three of us have Tomato taking it. Only one of us picked Tony Montana. And 3 of us picked Lefty, and only one of us picked Silver T Fox Demon.
Yeah.
So-
I'm the only one that has Patches Payback losing this week, actually.
Yeah. You know what? I have faith in Patches Payback.
Yeah. We'll have to
And
see.
Duke's really have not played very well this season as a
No.
team. And Patches has had at least some middling success. They're kind of in the middle of blue, where Nuke just hasn't gotten their feet under him yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. So, on to the next one.
Yep.
Anoyo Team versus the Caverns Below. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm interested to see this one.
You mind do you mind if I take this, actually?
Yeah. Go for
Go
it.
right ahead.
Yeah. So, all right. So, first one was split, and Mike, I think you're gonna find it interesting to know who voted against you. Your
I can see it.
co-hosts, your co-hosts don't think you can pull it off.
That's
So there's
fine.
your motivation for this week. Next up, three of us picked Duan to take it. Memnarch, I think you went with twos, I believe.
Yeah.
Between Man at Arms and Cherub, most of us picked Man at Arms, but I have faith in Cherub. I think he'll take that. Then between Number Theory and Slate, all but one of us went with Slate. Zerotio, do you want to explain your Number Theory pick?
I've been part of a lot of podcast communities with Number Theory. We do a lot of player tournaments and things like that. And he's just very, very knowledgeable. I think he's having a rough start of his season, but it's not indicative of his knowledge of Wild specifically.
Gotcha.
And I think he's going to turn it around this week.
We'll have to see. And then between G-Kick and MTG Squirrel, that's split 2-2. So that matchup looks like a toss-up. For the most part,
It is, yeah.
For the most part, this seems like a very competitive week too. Two of us picked a Noyo team to win, while the other two took the Caverns Below.
Well, NHL picked 4-1 against the Noyo team. So we'll just.
I said 3-2.
Oh, you're right. You picked 3-2. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
it looked
that
like
harsh.
4-1.
No. I only do it to mess with you. Don't worry.
No. I was gonna say at first it looked like we were overwhelmingly a Noyo team except for you, but all right. You guys want to move on to the next?
I went 4-1 with the Noyo team, so
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a good week this week. I just get the feeling we'll have a good week. So we're gonna come back.
We will see. Next up, Bash Brothers versus the Grimscale Gang.
yeah, we're going to take this 4-1. I'm going to be the only loss, and we're going to have another dominating week with my team carrying me. I think Anubinator is going to come off her week 3 slump and carry it ahead. Reverb obviously is going to keep powering along as our 1 seed. Jailstorm and Python are both just solid players, and they'll carry me this week. Yeah, I'm excited.
I picked the 3-2 Bash Brothers win. I picked Yo Daddy and White Delight winning for Grimscale Gang. But I picked Reverb, Mr. Python, and Zerotio to win for Bash Brothers.
Yeah, it seems like we were pretty split on this for the most part.
We're still on everything.
Well, we are, but a lot of it is much closer. It's funny. We would have been all in on Zerotio winning the week or winning his match this week, except our guest decided to vote against himself.
Yeah,
That's illegal, Zerotio.
I'm breaking the caster's curse. It can't be a caster's curse unless it's unanimous.
Oh, the Craig of Canada curse. That's right.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah.
Third from Craig.
He was cursed so badly that he left Hearthstone.
Yep.
Rough times.
That's just rough in general, man.
Yeah, so this is looking like another close one. I think most of us have Zerotio, your team winning. So we'll have to see how it goes.
It's going to be a good week regardless because this match here is going to decide blue. In my opinion, this match here decides who solidifies that top playoff spot for blue.
Should definitely get some of these matchups on stream. So on to the next one. Power Creeps versus F2 Verdian. This, in my opinion, is the matchup of the week. Bias aside. 2 top teams, just like Bash Brothers versus wow, I'm bad with names.
Oh, man. I'm also bad with names.
Yes. Bash Brothers versus Grimscale. So this is similar level, except we had these guys at the top of our preview just before the season start. So how you guys feeling about this?
I feel like it's an easy 5-0. Like Pascal just said to treat this as a bye for some reason. Not sure why.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, we're just gonna... You might as well just DQ right now because we're gonna 3-0 you the whole way.
I think this is easily match of the week. All joking aside, this is going to come down. I really think it's going to come down to the 5 seed. And honestly, I think it's going to be real close up until that 5 seed match. And I think Pasca comes out of his slump. Pasca's amazing. Another one of those guys that I've kind of toured the podcast tournament circuit with and played with on outside of THL. And he's sneaky good. And I'm really excited to see this specific match out of all of them. Is going to be a banger.
Yeah, it's going to be
I
close.
will say that I'm not spiteful, and I actually picked both my co-hosts to win. Because I want my co-host to win.
Well, I actually did too. I took Neji in the one. Jonah Ra is awesome, but I think Neji is just kind of doing really well, both in standard and wild lately. And I've watched his streams; he's just good. Rami, I mean, you can't really bet against Rami. The guy's a powerhouse.
Oh, you absolutely can.
MartyB and Memnarch both taking their matches. So that's a tie up until the 5 seed, and I think Pasca takes it.
Yeah, I picked Jonah Ra, I picked Rami, I picked MartyB, I picked Memnarch, and I picked the Rotted Zombie. So I picked Power Creeps 3-2.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think any of us know what's gonna happen because, Mike, you had a 3-2 win for Power Creeps. Oh wait, both of you voted. No, don't talk to me. You guys have no faith. Going Power Creeps over F2L.
No, I think
they understand.
Zerotio picked F2L.
No.
Oh,
No,
you're
he
right.
didn't.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he picked Power Creeps.
I'm disappointed in all of you. That's all I can say.
Don't worry, my
I
faith has been restored in all of you.
I think this will be a 1-point series. I think that the outcome point-wise is going to be 1 digit.
Yeah, we will have to see what happens then. So,
It's gonna be tough.
yeah, you'll all see. The end is coming. And we're gonna come back next week, and I'm gonna say, I knew it. You watch. Anyways, moving on. I think that's everything. Yeah. So we've covered all the games, and now we have a very special part. Yeah, deck of the week. So Zerotio, we asked you to come on and to bring a deck that you wanted to feature. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, it's Raffles OTK Exodia Paladin.
Yeah,
It's hot fire.
Yeah, this looks like a super interesting list. Do you want to walk us through it a bit?
Yeah. Do you don't want me to read the whole list off, do you?
Oh, you don't have to. We have the list right on screen. Don't worry.
So you got the list on screen. Basically, your goal is to just draw your combo, which is going to be your Uther the Ebon Blade. You're going to need at least one tour guide to get that to 0 for your hero power, and then your Octomaster Beardo, and then a combination of 0-cost spells, or with the tour guide, you can actually get it off with some of the 1-cost spells, and the coins off the Licensed Adventurers because you're running the quest, the Last Kaleidoscore. And you're not really worried about completing the quest. It is an alternate win condition if you get busted up, but ultimately you don't need to finish the quest. This I've been able to pull this combo off because of Nozdormu, the Timeless specifically. In some matchups, you can play him early if you know your opponent really doesn't have a lot of turnaround with that 10 mana, especially if you're playing against an aggro matchup and you have to clear the board the next turn or stall with timeouts. And then I've gotten the combo off as early as turn 8 or 9.
I do have to ask, how do you complete the quest? I'm not seeing it right now. You have Flash of Light and Hand of a Doll. So that's 4 spells. Where are the other 2?
You actually can get some of your first day of school will generate you some 1-cost that can generate you stuff. So I have completed the quest one time. It's purely lucky though.
I see.
You can't guarantee that you'll finish the quest. There is a lineup I play that does have more Librams in it, but it's a slower list. And usually I swap between that list and this list depending on what I think my opponent's going to do. Obviously, this week I brought it because I thought using it to counter Dead Man's Hand, if I can get the combo off quickly before they can start cycling their rats, then I can win.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a very interesting list. I think
I actually played. I played it on Born to Be Wild podcast this past Friday, and we went freaking out with the ladder. And I've been very successful on the ladder with it recently. It just fell a little short this week at THL. It's a good consistent deck, especially for the ladder right now because it wins.
Yeah, I think the Elusia nerf helped a lot with that. So
yes, yeah, and this is a hard ban Elusia. I mean, ban Priest lineup.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if we see more of this deck in THL. I know we saw a bit of it last series. Memnarch, you did bring this, right?
I did bring it 1 week. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It was the Libram version.
And you did
And
win.
I annihilated the other guy. It was great. That was my same week I brought Shutterwalk.
Yeah.
The Libram version is good if you feel you can go a more control-y kind of long game. If you expect your opponents to play more fatigue style or nice long setup and not like a counter OTK or a very fast aggro list. So you can play the Libram style that way.
Yeah, as soon as you get pegged as a player who doesn't bring aggro, your days are done. Like, especially in Wild. Like, you kind of have to bring everything at least once.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I went all aggro week 1 and got a DQ win. And it was like, oh, man, nobody saw I brought aggro. I brought 4 aggro decks because I was like, people are going to peg me for not bringing aggro.
It's okay.
So,
you can do it this week now.
I'm going to have to whip that list back out.
Yeah, it's all right. You'll just bring aggro this week. No one will expect it.
Yeah,
Even
right?
I won't expect it. Hint, hint. So, yeah. And then you'll be able to bring this every other week again. Don't worry.
That's usually that is a tactic I have been known to take in Legacy, and has worked for me. The rope-a-dope can work, but then again, I could just bring OTK every single week, and you never know. But I am very articulate in my list, so what's that movie Quigley Down Under? I said I don't use guns, not that I can't use a gun.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Well,
I think that about wraps it up for the show, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank NHL for OPing, Memnarch for being on. As always, you guys are a great cast to have alongside me. And I want to thank Zerotio for being our guest. Thank you. And everyone listen to the Hero Power podcast. Find it on iTunes or wherever you find podcasts. And vote for Skittles for player for Wild. And just vote for Player of the Week for Wild in general. We don't get enough submissions. We'll get 1 or 2 submissions a week, and it's just not fun that way. Yeah. You guys have
means
anything?
my submission is going to guarantee get it. So awesome. So you better submit, or my submissions are going to guarantee Player of the Week then.
Yeah, you don't want Zerotio to have the only Player of the Week decision. So
no,
oh, man, he just votes for himself then.
Oh no, definitely not.
He wins every time.
Yeah, exactly. You'll start to notice a pattern. But all right, everyone, have a fantastic evening. Take care. We'll see you next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.